Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Kodesh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, or the true leaders of Israel today. And salutations to all of the Akium who do this work in truth and sincerity, who risking their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen, but are not by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahawashi. And the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Akalio, and this video is about the so-called Africans who are the biblical Hamites. They are the heathen, and they're going into slavery with the rest of the heathen when it is that our Lord Yahawashi returns. Okay, so here it is, you can see from this picture. African chief apologizes for the role of his people in kidnapping God's people and selling them into slavery. Okay, so let's just read it one more time. African chief apologizes for the role of his people in kidnapping God's people and selling them into slavery. So automatically, right, you might be wondering, wait, what? If you're like a new viewer, okay? Because this world tells you that you have these different groups of people, like you have white people, black people, they say Asian people, then they distinguish between like East Asian, right? They say that there are like, they call the people Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Pacific Islander, whatever else, right? But when it comes to, the idea of white people, they just categorize you once you have that look. And then once you are of a certain look, right, they categorize you as a black person. Okay, typically if you have like, a certain skin tone, even though we know from a light skin to a medium brown to a dark skin, right? They categorize, an individual as black based off of that. And then they look at the hair texture as well, where they will say, oh, you have like Afro textured hair, so you black, right? But that is all lies and deception perpetuated by those that are in rulership, who are these so-called white people, who are actually the biblical Edomites, and they are the wicked. These are their lies and their deception. All right, the real truth of the matter is that people belong to nations. All right, there is no black people or white people or Chinese people or Japanese people or anything. No, there are Israelites and Edomites and Ishmaelites and Hamites and Japhites and Moabites and Ammonites, etc. All right, people are nations. All right, so Esau has spread this whole lie of, identifying people around the world, and as such, right, the people who, they say look black or whatever, they just consider as black, right? So like Jamaicans, Haitians, Dominicans, Brazilians, Americans, etc., are all labeled as like these black people, when that's not what the situation is at all. All right, you have Israelites who have a certain look. Our people are of all different kinds of shades of brown, which really all of the nations are different shades of brown, except for the so-called white people who are the Edomites. They are of, they're red. Okay, all of the other nations are different shades of brown, and all of the nations have varying different textures of hair. Okay, when you really look at the people. All right, so the look is not important in that type of way. We establish and make it be known that yes, these people who look like this, these so-called white people, they're the Edomites, because their look itself is unique. All right, their look is completely different from the rest of the world, where all of the other nations are simply just different shades of brown with different varying hair textures. All right, so you have this label put upon our people like, oh, African American, and then the whole lies of saying, oh, all black people come from Africa and all these kinds of things, the whole lies of it all. But getting to the main point of the matter is that these African people are not our people, and we are not their people. The so-called Africans, they are the biblical Hamites. They come from Ham. That is their forefather. We, the Israelites, we come from Shem. Okay? It's as simple as that. So we're not the same people. Okay, so when it is that he's saying, African chief apologizes for the role of his people in kidnapping God's people and selling them into slavery, this is exactly what has been done. The so-called Africans, who are the Hamites, they sold our people into slavery. They are confederate with the other heathen in the destruction of the Lord's holy chosen people, who are us, the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians. Okay? They are confederate in our destruction. And the scriptures say it in the book of Joel, chapter 3, and verse 1, for behold, in those days and in that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? So when it's talking about O Tyre and Zidon and all the coasts of Palestine, right? When you go to Zidon here, right, at H6721, Taza Yada 1. Okay. It says Sidon equal hunting, but when you go down, it says Sidon, the name of a son of Canaan and of a place in Palestine. So it's talking not about those places, but about the people, right? And the Canaanites, those are Hamites. They're so-called Africans. All right. So these so-called Africans, all right, did this to us, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians. The Grecians are the Edomites, these so-called white people, that ye might remove them far from their border. All right. So they sold our people to the Edomites. All right. When our people were over there in so-called Africa, when the time of 1619 came about, these so-called Africans, who are the Hamites, they gathered up our people and sold our people to Esau. Yeah. So, you know, there are people who will say, oh, well, black people sold black people into slavery. No, it's not about that. It is that Hamites sold Israelites into slavery. That's what it is. The Hamites, who are the heathen, sold the Lord's holy chosen people into slavery. And this is what he's referring to. All right. African chief apologizes for the role of his people in kidnapping God's people, the Israelites, and selling them into slavery. YAHAWAH'S holy chosen people, us. Right. And he's apologizing. Now, the interesting thing about this is that I have a story that when I was in college, I have a friend. She is from Africa. She is born in Nigeria. Right. And when we were in college, one day she brought it up to me, and she said that in Africa, in Nigeria, that she is treated very poorly. So I was very confused, because I'm like, wait, what do you mean by you're treated poorly? Because, you know, from a carnal point of view, which, you know, I'm still in the world at that time, you know, she is pretty, and, you know, she's like she looks good, you know, she's a medium brown complexion, which, you know, over there in Nigeria, y'all know what it is. one of the bleaching capitals in the world. They value like a lighter shades of brown, right? And she comes from a lot of wealth in Nigeria. Okay, so she has, from a carnal point of view, a lot of status regarding that. So I'm like very confused. She's like, yes, over there in Nigeria, the other African people treat me very badly. And then she said, the reason why they treat her badly over there in Africa, because for so long she wondered why. So one day she decided to ask, the people, because it was just a general thing. Like, people over there in Nigeria would treat her badly. Some people, not all people, but some people. And she said that one day when she asked them, they said to her that they treat her badly because she and them are not the same people. Yeah. Those Africans over there in Nigeria told her they treat her badly because they are not the same people. So that's a spiritual thing. And that also speaks to that those people in Africa, those Hamites, they know that they're a different nation than other so-called black-looking people over there in Africa and over there in Nigeria, right? And so this African chief, he obviously knows that he belongs to a different nation. And he said it. He acknowledged his wrongdoing, right? Kidnapping God's people. You see? So that's all spiritual. And so when I came into this truth, I thought about that moment with her, right? The Lord brought it to remembrance, and I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Because we were so confused at the time, because they're sitting like, oh, but we all black people, all this kind of stuff. How is it that they're saying that she's a different kind of people? Because, the world, Esau put this out there that, oh, all black people are from Africa, belong, that madness. You see what I'm saying? But we just shelved it because we couldn't arrive to any kind of conclusion at all. I come into the truth, the Lord brings it to remembrance, and I'm like, wow, look at that. That's very spiritual, man. So those Hamites over there, they know what it is, man. Okay? And so they mistreat our people over there too, right? So, him apologizing for this, that's cool and whatever, but so what? At the same time, so what? You can apologize all you want, you're going into slavery regardless. Now, let's get this from the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary. Okay? Where is it at? All right, so here it will say that Ham, right? Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to, I'm going to guess, live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, the Libyans, and Canaanites. Okay? So this is a different group of people from the Negroes, because the Negroes are the Israelites. Okay? Those that they label over there in America as African American. Right? Just another byword, which is a part of the curses upon us. Okay? That we be called all these other things except for what we truly are, who are the Israelites, the Lord's holy chosen people. All right, so those Africans over there, man, they're not our people. And once again, they do mistreat our people over there. Something within their spirit, however it is that it is over there, they know that they're a different nation from those other so-called black-looking people over there, man. Some of them. And then they treat them poorly. Right? My friend, at that time, she wanted to flee Nigeria, because of the mistreatment that she felt she was getting from other black people that she saw as her own people, but they're not. And she's an Israelite, point blank. All right? And they, because it's all spiritual, they most likely within their spirit just could tell that she is not like them, which is a blessing unto her, because she's an Israelite and they're Hamites, they're heathen. You know what I'm saying? The Lord don't see them as nothing, man. Okay? Or the Lord sees them as nothing, rather. Okay? That's how the Lord feels about the heathen. Okay? So they're a different nation from us. All right? And they've been confederate with the rest of the heathen in our destruction. Okay? Also, in the scriptures, right? Because it is them that had us in captivity in ancient Egypt, these so-called Hamites, the so-called Africans who are the Hamites. Okay, look at this. Exodus 11 and verse 7, but against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how the Lord Yahweh doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. Okay, there's a difference, man. Okay, and perhaps it is that difference, okay, that those people over there in Nigeria could tell when it is that they saw my friend and would mistreat her, okay, saying that it's because they are not the same people, right? So they know, man, these heathen know. And you can tell as well the clear spirit between an Israelite and a Hamite. These Hamites are very vile people, are people with no rhythm. Have y'all seen them dance? Y'all see that jumping thing that they do? Or the rituals that they commit by carving all kinds of things into their flesh? Yeah, those are not our people, man. The things that they do, like, I think they put manure in the hair. Like, they be doing all kinds of bugged out stuff. Those are not our people. And you know what else is interesting? Like, a lot of times, like, if you're in America, right, and you're hanging out with Jake, a lot of the times, from my experiences at least, it's like we be looking at what they be doing over there in Africa, and you know, you see those tribes over there and stuff. And many times I've been around Jake, and Jake's like, yo, like, I don't know, fam. I just don't see myself being up, you know, taking part in that kind of stuff. It looks like a very strange thing. It's a very strange custom, right? It's a very weird way. Like, many times you be hanging out with Jake, and Jake be looking at those people over there in Africa from those tribes and whatever, and be looking down at them, which is appropriate because they're heathen. Okay, in Psalms 83, right? It lets us know, a song or psalm of Asaph, keep not thou silence, O Yahweh Shemishai, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh Shemishai. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, who are the Israelites, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And that is what they did, right? And they're all complicit. All these heathen, man. Okay? And they still are to this day. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. So they're not only against the Israelites, but they are against our power, Yahweh Shemishai. This is how the Lord has made them. The tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarites, Jabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assur also is joined with them. They have holpen the children of Lot Salah. So the heathen are completely against us, man, and they're confederate with one another in our destruction, right? So guess what? They're going up into slavery. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So all the heathen are going into slavery when Yahushua returns. All of them. The Japhites, the Africans, who are the Hamites, and the other sons of Shem, right? The children of Shem, rather. Okay? Those that come from Shem, Edom, Moab, Ishmael, Ammon, etc. Okay? They all going up into slavery, man. And there's no apologizing. Y'all don't need to be apologizing for nothing. Y'all did what y'all did already. And now y'all are going to feel the captivity. And it is our inheritance to own you heathen as our slaves. The scriptures say it. In the book of Psalms. Ask of me. I think it might be 9. Could be 8. Psalms 2, actually 2 and 8. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. All right, so we were given the ultimate blessing, and a part of our blessing is to have slaves. And who are those slaves going to be? The other nations, of course. They're going to serve us when Yahawashi returns and establishes the kingdom that's going to be here on earth. Okay, so with that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemishai by Shemikal Kodesh. Shalom.